G'day, I'm Mark Hoth and welcome to Swift Almanac, where we teach you the basics of Swift in 10 minutes or less. Today's lesson is control transfer. So let's have a look at control transfer in 10 minutes or less. Control transfer includes the use of the keywords continue, break, fall through, labels, and return. So the first of these is continue, and that tells a loop to stop the current round of processing and to commence the next loop. So in this example, we have a constant great minds think alike called the puzzle input, and we have a variable, the puzzle output, which is an empty string. And we want to remove these characters, and we have an array of characters which are all vowels and a space. And we're saying for a character in the puzzle input, if the character to remove dot contains any of these characters, then we want to continue, else the puzzle output append that character. So essentially we're going to iterate through every character in puzzle input, and it will remove all of these characters, and hence at the end, if we were to print puzzle output, we're going to get great minds think alike without all the vowels and the spaces, and so that works. So the effect of continue is if this if statement is true, then none of the remaining processing in the for loop is going to occur, and it's going to start this iteration with the next character again. So let's have a look at break. Break ends the execution of the control flow immediately. So break in a loop, there's no more iterations of the loop at all, and the code starts executing after the close brace, closure for the loop. And break in a switch, no more processing within the switch statement, and the code starts executing after the brace closure for the switch statement. So in the switch example, let the number equals 5, a variable value 0, switch the number, case 1, 2, default, well it's not a 1, it's not a 2, and it is the default, and we break, we drop out of the closure and we print the value, and the value will be 0, which is the default value. The fall through keyword. Swift automatically stops a case at the commencement of a new case keyword without an explicit break statement like is needed in C and its derivatives. However, if you actually want a switch statement to fall through to the next case, then you can use the fall through statement. So if we have an integer describe equals 5 and a description, the number 5 is, and we switch on integer to describe, in the case 2, 3, 5 is there, the description plus equals a prime number, and also fall through comes to the default, description is an integer, and if we print this out, we'll see the number 5 is a prime number and also an integer. Another example of this might be if you're processing a deck of cards, you might want to know the numeric value of the card, and you also might want to know the suit. So you could use the fall through to process both the numeric value and then process the suit for the cards. Now for label statements, labels allow us to assist where we have nested switch or while loops, and you want to identify which of the nested elements you want to break, continue, or fall through from. So in this example, we've got essentially a small chessboard of 5 by 5, 25 squares. The last square is the 25th square, and we're starting on the 0th square. We've got a board and a dice roll. So what we've got is a label here, game loop colon, and then we've got a while loop. While square doesn't equal the final square, we're going to roll the dice and do all this stuff in the middle. And part of our switch statement is, have we hit the final square? And if we have, when we break, we don't want to break out of the switch statement. We want to break out to game loop. So we just write break game loop, and so it's break the label game loop, and it takes us back to this label here, and it continues on processing. The same here, if the new square is greater than the final square, i.e. we've rolled a dice that takes us past the final square, then we want to roll again, and so we want to continue the game loop, so we go back to here, etc. and move through. So that's how labels work. They send you to a different point of code apart from the default point. So normally break and continue would be affected by this switch statement. Okay, and finally the return statement. Return tells us to cease all execution of the current function or closure. So as an example here, we have a variable optional string. It's surprisingly enough an optional string. We've created a function and we say guard let string equals optional string else return. So what the guard statement is saying is that if this string does not exist, then we will return do nothing, and then otherwise it will fall through and it will print optional string has a value of non-string. So we call my function and currently it does nothing. Of course, if we set a value to the string, let's say test, then that will have a value and it will say optional string has a value test. And even if we make it an empty string, we will see that it has a value. Optional string has a value of, well, it's blank. So this is also a good example of the difference between having an empty string and having a non-value for an optional. So that is the difference. And obviously the return here is meaning that this print statement is not running at all. Well, that's it for control transfer. If you have any questions about the tutorial, then please leave a comment below or hit me up on Twitter @SwiftAlmanac. Please subscribe to our channel, it's free, and check out our website at www.swiftalmanac.com. Thanks for watching and we'll see you next time. Cheers.